Hi, it's math time with Mrs. Depperschmidt. We've been using rounding and front-end estimation to check the reasonableness of our answers for sums and differences. Those are math problems we do with addition and subtraction. Today we'll extend our knowledge a bit to use those two techniques with checking reasonableness on a product, which is the answer you get when you multiply. Then we'll show you a new technique that helps us check the reasonableness of an answer we've arrived at when we divide, which is called the quotient. So here we go. Before we get started, I'd like to again explain about rounding. Anytime there's a number exactly in the middle, always round up. That's a rule to live by for the rest of your math career. Typically in the industry, rounding up is always done if your number falls in the middle. So let's start with a product. We're going to use rounding to make an estimate of the product we get when we multiply 217 by 5. Calculated out to an actual result, we get 1,085. To round off and find an estimated answer, we're not going to do anything with the 5 because we know that multiplying by 5 is something we're good at. We can almost do it in our heads. We can almost do it in our sleep, in fact. But we will want to round off the 217. We'll round it to the nearest hundred, meaning we decide if 217 is closer to 200 or 300. We know it's quite low, close to 200, so that's the number we're going to use. Thinking of 200 multiplied by 5, you've probably already come up with our estimate of 1,000. 1,000 is quite close to 1,085, so we know we've done a good job at estimating. You will notice that it's lower than our actual number. That happens because the number we used to work with was lower than the number in the actual multiplication problem. Next, we'll use front-end estimation to see how accurate we are for a product. In the equation 238 times 2, the actual result is 476. This time we'll use front-end estimation, which means we use the leading digit of the more difficult number. In this case it's 238. As before, we have a quite simple next number that we're multiplying by, so we won't do anything with that. The front-end digit of 238 is a 2, representing 200. So in our mind, we think of 200 multiplied by 2. And you can see that our estimate gives us 400, which is close to the actual answer. Once again, our estimate is lower because we used a lower number for estimating. Now we'll move on to division. When it's time to estimate a quotient, we're going to use related multiplication facts to see if our quotient estimates are reasonable. We'll work with the division problem 84 divided by 3. I also think of what can go into 84 3 times, or how many groups of 3 are there in 84. Those are all the same question represented by this division problem. By using the leading digit, we think of the 8 or an 80 from this problem. Next, we think of multiples of 3 that are close to 8 or 80 from up above. We're using multiples of 3 because that's the divisor, or the number we're putting into 84. So we know that 3 groups of 2 make 6, 3 groups of 3 make 9. When we translate that into the tens digit, we have 60 and 90. We have one number above 80, because that was the leading digit in our divisor. And we have one that is above 80. Next easiest thing to do is to put those two on the number line. We have 60 down below, and we have 90 up above, and our 80 is here. Now we only have to decide which estimate is closer. To know how close they are, it's helpful to figure out the middle. What is the middle between 60 and 90? There's a spread of 30. So we know that 15 is half the way, and 15 more will get us the other half. The middle number is 75. Our estimate is 80. That's the number we used from our leading digit in the original problem. 80 is closer to 90, so our best guess is 3 multiplied by 30. We'll put that on here. And we see that our estimated 30 is quite close to the real answer, which was 28. This happens because 90 is closer to 84. 60 was not very close to 84. That's why we chose 30. The result is that 30 is the best guess. It's a reasonable estimate for this divisor. We'll work with some more examples at school where I can guide you through. If you're interested in making a sample problem for the class to work on, I welcome that. Please have a great rest of the day. I'll see you at school, and please be kind.